Hey, good morning, guys, and welcome to the last part of the project of creating a calculator. So we went through the two different stages so far. We did the flow chart. Now, after the flow chart, we worked on the scratch to see the process of the code created through block coding. Now, the last part, just like we did before with the other programs we created, it's going to be through text-based coding, pseudocode. So it's called pseudocode, text-based coding. And now we're going to create our calculator in Replit. For those who were able to finish the Raptor, I think everybody, very good job. I think some of you guys still struggled with the with the scratch, but whatever you were able to do, I'll see. And good job. If you weren't able to finish it, try to finish it this week. We'll do this week, but also see if you can finish the scratch. You can ask somebody for help. Um, Maybe I'll create a video after this video to see how you complete the scratch as well, possibly. But if not, you guys can always connect with students that have finished and see how they were able to finish the project in Scratch. So we do have to move on. So now remember, there'll be a link here for Replit. Everybody created an account in Replit. You log in. Yeah, log in. Everybody should have an account in Replit. If not, for whatever reason, go ahead and create one. Okay. So here's my Replit account. We all know what to do here. We see a lot, but all we have to do is go to create a new Replit. And here we're going to name this Replit calculator program. Calculator program. Because that's what we're doing. We're creating a program for a calculator. Oops. I'm putting it in the wrong place. Sorry, guys. Let me delete that. We're going to do it. Sorry, here we're going to do it with Python. Remember, we're working with Python. And then here we're going to take away that title. It always gives us a title, but we can change it. Calculator program. Program. Okay. And then we go here where it says create Replit. So again, choose Python, go to create Replit, name it calculator program. Now here, I'm gonna go through this really quick because I don't want to make two videos, guys. I don't want to, take long. I'm gonna create the calculator using what we've learned. So if we remember, the first part of our flowchart is where we need to create some variables. We need to create four variables, right? Four variables, one for addition, one for subtraction, one for multiplication, and one for division. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go enter, remember, and we're going to go like this. So the variable is going to be called A, and it's going to be an input. And this is, I mean, you don't have to understand everything I'm doing, but just please follow along, and it's going to help us learn in the future. So here, choose the operation. Remember, we had that in our flowchart. Choose the operation. Let me make this a little bigger. I'm not going to run the code to the end, so maybe I'll do this. Make this bigger like that. Okay. So choose the operation you would like to perform, right? So choose the operation you would like to perform. And now in here, we need to put what the operations are. So number one, if we remember, we're going to put parentheses here, addition for number one, parentheses there. Okay. And then we're going to put a comma. And then number two, what was it? It was subtraction. Sorry, subtraction. And again, you guys can work together, but everybody needs to do it. Okay, subtraction. And then put parentheses, and then a comma. And then number three was multiplication. multiplication and parentheses and a comma. And number 4 was division. Division. And this is just the same thing we did with the scratch. Okay, and then you're gonna need 2 of these little dots, and then you're gonna need the that's it. So there's your first part of the code. So there's your input. This is the first part when the computer is going to ask you choose the operation you would like to perform. So now remember, we're going to create 2 variables that we're going to be able to use just like we did in Scratch. We created 2 variables. What were the 2 variables? Number 1 and number 1 needed an integer input, right? Because we need to put an integer. An integer is a number. So an integer input, and the integer input, how we're going to get that is by having the computer say, please, oops, remember anytime we write a string, we need the, anytime we write letters, a string, we need to put what it is we're writing. So please type or enter, you can put enter, whatever you want to put, a number. It's however you want your computer to ask, your program to ask. And here we have 2 dots. Oops, I went up here. I think it's kind of in the way. Okay. Please enter a number, and then you need these 2. Those are little dots there. And then you need this. Oops, it's already there. Okay. So that's my first variable right here. Number 1, integer input, please type a number. And now what can we do here to make it faster? Copy, paste. Oops. Copy, paste. Bring this back. Okay, you know why? Because I forgot this here. Okay. Okay, copy, paste. So the first one's just like this, and I'm going to do it again. So copy, and then I come down here and I paste. Now, what do I need to change from here? It's going to ask the same thing. I just need to change the number 1 to a number 2, and that's my second variable. Done. Okay. And then now, if I go now, this is where these are things we haven't learned yet, but you know, these are we've learned it last year, but these are now the conditions. If the user chooses, uh, you see this variable in variable A right here. If in variable A right here, the user, you have to put 2 of these now, chooses option 1. You need option 1. Chooses option 1 like that. And then what's going to happen? If he chooses option 1, you want the 2 variables to add each other. Number 1 plus number 2. Okay. Now, so that's we're done with the first one. Now, if he doesn't choose number 1 and he goes down, and we put here it's going to be unless. So if he chooses number 1, he goes here. So this is the condition. If he chooses number 1, then this is going to happen. Number 1 plus number 2. Unless, and so then we're going to write another condition that's called unless condition. So like this. So it's an if statement, but that means if it's not choosing the first one. And now we're going to grab it from the same. You see this? I'm putting A because I'm grabbing it from over here again, right? So A, and we put 2 of these. If he chooses number 2, okay, what's going to happen if he chooses number 2? This is going to be the process right down here. So the process is going to be that if he chooses number 2, number 1 variable, same variables that we created here. We're using the same variables just depending on what they choose up here. Okay, so number 1 would be subtraction, right? From number 2. And then that'll be the process. So now what's going to happen here? So if he chooses number 1, we add. If unless he chooses number 2, we subtract. But what if he doesn't choose number 2? So now we can copy this. This is kind of like what I was telling you guys to do in Scratch. You can take the same code, and what you're going to change is you're going to change the operation, what's going to happen. So here we can take this code, copy it. You see it's the same one up here, but the only thing we need to change is this number 2 to a 3, because now this is multiplication. See that? And what do we need to change in here? We need to change it to multiplication, which is the little star. And now what can we do for the next one? The same thing. We can put it here. And what should this one be now? This process is number 4, which is division. I know I'm going kind of fast, but I don't want to take long for the video. Okay, and then the division sign. And that's it. We have all our operations right here. All of these 4 conditions are these 4 right here. And these inputs, these 2 inputs, are active right here. But they're all, you see that? They're all doing different things now that we changed it. Okay? Now, um, in our Raptor, we did put something at the end. Remember, in the end, if he doesn't choose 1, 2, 3, or 4, but if he chooses something above like 5, 6, or 7, then what is the computer going to give you? An error. So let's put that in our program. So or else condition, or else. Oops. So remember, this has to be lined up exactly the same way, guys, or it's not going to work. Or else condition, or else if he doesn't choose the correct one, then you print, and you want to print error. Error. You can put anything here, whatever you want the computer to say. If I choose number 7, but there is no number 7, there's only 1, 2, 3, or 4, then I want my computer to give me an error, kind of like we see in computers. So why is it not allowing me here? You see the red, because I need to, when it's a, now that it's a string, you need to have the quotes. Okay, so there we go. So then again, if he chooses number 1, addition. If he chooses number 2, subtraction. If he chooses number 3, multiplication. Number 4, division, or else give him an error to the user if he chooses the wrong one. And now the last part is what the results are going to be. So once he gets the results, remember we did have a result, and the result's going to say your, whatever you want it to say. I want mine to say your answer is, and here we're going to use these little things that we haven't used before to get that answer in there. Hopefully you guys have them. This little thing here. So these little things, and then it's going to start at 0, right? Because we don't want to put anything there. And then this is something that we have not used as well, but it's just going to be cool to see the program work. Format just means whatever, they put in there that comes from T. Whatever T gives us, T variable here, we're going to get it out here. So we're going to put format in T. And I know this is like, what are you talking about, T? But just give it a try. So this is the code. This is the code that we should all have. If you guys can see it here, I'm going to make it a little bigger so you guys can see it. And I'll share it in the chat. But if you see that there, that's the code for your calculator, guys. So now if I run this code, let's run it. Choose an operation you would like to perform. 1, addition. 2, subtraction. 3, multiplication. 4, division. So I'm going to choose 4. And I want to divide 100 by 100. Your answer is 1. You see that? All this code is just this little simple process. Okay. Now, really quick, I just want to show you guys if I choose number, you see it goes to number 4. Let's say I put number 8. And then it still is going to ask me, because if you see the code here, it's still going to ask me for a number and a number. So if I put number 10, 10 plus 10 or whatever, it's going to give me an error because there is no number 8 option up here. Okay, guys? Hopefully this made some sense. Hopefully you guys can all at least put the code on Replit. When you're done, remember that you need to do the following. You need to open a screenshot take a picture of it like this, save it into your computer, and turn it in um, in Google Class. Okay, guys. So again, this video will be in the classroom. It'll have instructions. I'll leave the code there as well. Um, but I hope it makes sense. This is the flowchart we created. This is the same text we created in Scratch, and now we're creating it in real code, which is text-based code. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you so much.